Welcome back, everybody, and happy Monday. Hope y'all had a really great weekend. I got into the alternative to the Super Bowl halftime show. I spent that time reading through some of the bills that were moving through the legislature last week. I'm okay with that because my alternative to the alternative experience also involved no live vocals, and best I could tell, very little of it was in English. Today is Monday, February 9th, 2026. Born on this date in 1933, LPGA golfer and Alabama Sports Hall of Famer Joanne Prentice of Birmingham. Prentice died just last May at age 92. She was a six-time winner on the LPGA Tour. She's credited for her role in the creation of the Birmingham Classic, which was the LPGA stop at Green Valley Country Club from 1972 to 1982. Green Valley would become Hoover Country Club. Today, we have oil drilling proposed for the Conecuh National Forest, a sex trafficking life sentence, and the passing of a Huntsville icon. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, oil production in the United States has been mostly up, and away since the COVID pandemic. Actually, that's been the general trend since 2011, except for a couple of blips in economic history. One was an oil price plunge in 2015 and 16, and then, of course, the aforementioned pandemic. Now, we've been the world's top producer each year beginning in 2018. And when the 25 numbers are all official, we'll likely have broken the all-time oil production record 4 years running. We know some of the federal politics on the issue. President Trump cut regulations and effectively expanded drilling during his first term. And although President Biden promised to end drilling on public land, he didn't. Despite not entering into new public leases, the Biden administration continued to approve drilling permits for existing leases. And by 23, the U.S. was breaking its own world records for drilling again. And now, with the second Trump administration in charge, the White House is looking to again expand drilling on public lands as well as offshore. And a proposal from the U.S. National Forest Service would put nearly all of Conecuh National Forest up for lease, reports AL.com's Margaret Cates. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to see a derrick on each of the 83,000 acres. The Bureau of Land Management, which handles oil and gas leasing, projected a demand for 11 new wells in the forest over the next 15 years, affecting up to 44 acres. But it would mean more roads and traffic for sure. Other downsides include the potential for displaced hunting, fishing, camping, and such. And a big one for environmentalists, the Conecuh National Forest is a premier remaining longleaf pine forest ecosystem that's home to endangered species such as the red-cockaded woodpecker and the gopher tortoise. The Nature Conservancy's data shows that the southeastern U.S. once had more than 90 million acres of longleaf forest, and today that 90 million is down to around 5 million. Now, how much might the drilling affect the local environment? Well, that's something that has some folks concerned. Said local biologist Jimmy Stiles, who lives in the forest, quote, "There are former oil sites that have been there for 20 plus years and still can't support native wildlife." I feel like we've developed a bit of a theme on this podcast by sharing so many stories over the years of Alabama people making or allegedly making big trouble in what was once a lovely little tourist trap before it grew into a much bigger place down on the Gulf Coast. AL.com's Carol Robinson reports that a Dothan man has been sentenced to life in prison for taking part in a conspiracy to bond women out of jails and then force or coerce them to commit sexual acts. Some of the victims were trafficked by the conspirators to Panama City Beach and other places. Chad Cornelius Seymour, who's 50 years old, threatened and physically abused his victims according to the district attorney for Northern Florida. The DA also indicated that Seymour is known as, either by himself or others, as the Circle City Pimp. Numerous federal and local Florida and Alabama agencies assisted in the investigation, including the FBI, ICE, the U.S. Marshals, and the Dothan Police Department. And the legendary Huntsville musician known as Microwave Dave has passed away, reports AL.com's Matt Wake. Dave Gallagher was born in Chicago and raised in Texas. He served in the Air Force in Vietnam, started playing blues guitar, and moved to Huntsville in the 1980s. That's where Microwave Dave took flight. Matt wrote that during the mid-80s, Gallagher was sitting in with a harmonica player who couldn't remember his name, so he just called him Dave the Microwave. Later, his band Microwave Dave and the Nukes would tour Europe, but even as his music attracted fans well beyond Alabama and he befriended musicians and celebrities, he was leaving a permanent impression as the iconic local Huntsville musician. The Microwave Dave Music Foundation places local musicians in schools to teach students and pays them for it. Microwave Dave Day completed its 11th running last year, according to a post by the event's Facebook page. Microwave Dave also has been playing solo Thursdays at the Nook. Dave Gallagher was 80 years old. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. We are going to be back here in the morning. Until then, y'all come by and see us anytime you can on the internet at al.com.